नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे We are dealing with the subject renunciation and service. Swami Vivekananda says, our national ideals are renunciation and service. Channelize her in these lines, the rest will take care of itself. This is the famous statement he made, and we were discussing on this statement what Swami Vivekananda means by renunciation, what he means by service, why he says they are the national ideals, all these things. We are already discussing about the renunciation, different types of renunciation, different interpretation of renunciation by Swami Vivekananda, and also about service. We are discussing about the different kinds of service. Swami Vivekananda himself says there are 4 kinds of services. There is Annadana is there, Pranadana is there, Vidyadana is there, and the last one is Jnanadana. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. The first stage is Annadana. Annadana means feeding the people who are hungry. That is normal. Swami Vivekananda himself says, first we have to render them physical services. Their physical needs are to be fulfilled. Then only Vedanta can be preached to them. Vedanta is not for the hungry stomach, he says. So first you have to feed them. You have to fulfill their physical needs first. So that is why first stage of service is Annadana. Then the next one is Pranadana. Pranadana means saving their life. Through so many ailments and diseases, so many things, they are suffering from so many ways. So try to help them in overcoming their sufferings in that way. That is why so much of hospitals and dispensaries are there, so much relief work is being conducted. So this is the Pranadana. Then the next stage is Vidyadana. So if Vidyadana is there, knowledge is given, the secular knowledge is given to them, then they will be able to stand on their own legs. They don't have to depend upon somebody else for their own livelihood. So that is another important service to be rendered to the society. So because of that, so many free education services are there. That is another way of serving the society, through giving them proper education, training, etc. And the highest service that we can render is knowledge, Jnanadana, spiritual knowledge. Giving them spiritual knowledge. So through that what happens, all their life's problem is solved. They will be completely free from all the problems. They will go beyond all the problems, beyond all dualities. So through spirituality only it is possible to overcome all the problems of life. That is why Nityasthanandaji also used to say, there is a spiritual solution for all our problems, mental problems, physical problems, everything. So that is why we must go beyond all these things. So that is spiritual service we have to render. Because of that only we have got so many religious services, activities, and so many things are there related to that. So this is how we have to render service to the society. These are the different stages of services as Swami Vivekananda propounded. And we shall look at it in a different angle altogether now. The first service that we can render, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to start any education institutions or the hospitals or any such thing. Everybody cannot do also. In what way? In what way one can serve the society then? The first thing is doing our duties properly with moral integrity. This is the greatest service we can render, everyone can render to the society. Through this, what happens, people will be served better. Without any moral integrity, without all these things, without honesty, without moral integrity, without any sense of duty, because of all these things, there are so many problems are there in the society. So everybody has got his own work in society. He may be a teacher, he may be an engineer, a doctor, whatever may be the profession. Through that profession, one has to render service to the society. So there is three stages are there. One is job oriented, another is career oriented, another is calling. Calling means, so normally we think education is meant for jobs. Most of the students go to the education institutions, very costly education institutions, very mainly because of that, for the seeking jobs, not seeking knowledge, seeking jobs. It is job oriented education. Only job means I must get money. Money is most important there. I must earn money. So then what happens, service attitude is completely disappears there. It will not be there at all. And also career oriented. Nowadays so much of they talk about career guidance and all that. Career. So education is meant for building our careers. So that is not real education at all. So the service is the most important point. That is why it is called next stage of this work is the calling. Calling means we are all called to serve the society. Education is how much of crores and crores of rupees are spent in education. For what? For what? It's a calling to serve the society. Actually, you have to serve the society in a better way. So that is why this education and trainings are there. All these education and trainings are there only to train them, to educate them properly to serve the society. That is actually calling. They are called to serve the society, not for career making, not for only for job's sake. We can get money, we can get salaries and all that. That is a different thing. That is a secondary things. What is important, serving the society is most important. In every field of our activities, as a teacher, as a employee, in office, or as a doctor, as an engineer, or as a software engineer, whatever may be our profession, whatever may be our field of activities, through that we have to serve the society. So what is important, you should attitudinal change is most important here. Attitudinal change. Same work. You have to change our attitude. So when we have that kind of a service attitude, what happens, our life becomes more fulfilled. So it is said, it is demonstrated, and a psychological study is made on this point. The study says, people who do voluntary work are happier and healthier than those who do not do so. Those who do the voluntary services, voluntary work, even their job also can be done as a service. then what happens, they are more healthier and physically also, mentally also healthier and also happier comparatively to others. Those who only do the work only for themselves, only for their own sake, for their own livelihood. Education is normally, it's not there are two kinds of education, they say, One education is for making our living. Another is how to make our living. One is. Another is how to live. How to live. That is most important. So that kind of education you must have. So with that education, this kind of education, it is possible to overcome our own selfish motivation, self-centeredness, and render service to the society, to others in a proper way. So that is why we don't have to do anything else if you have got that conscientiously perform our duties with a moral integrity, honesty, truthfulness, and all that. Then that itself is a great service to the society. You don't have to do anything. So we have to do that. That is one first important point to be noted in rendering the service to the society. That is the first stage. That is doing the work as a job, doing the work as career, and doing the work as a calling. That is most important. That is the highest stage of our duty. The second kind of service you can render is through the words of consolation. Through the words of consolation. So many people are, many ways they are suffering mentally, physically, in so many ways. If you are able to listen to them properly, patiently, and utter a few words of consolation, that itself is the greatest service you can render to the people. Priyavakya pradanena sarve tushyanti jantavaha tasmat tadeva datavyam vachane ka daridrata. Priyavakya pradanena, through pleasing words, even the animals also get pleased, feel happy. Sarve tushyanti jantavaha tasmat tadeva datavyam. Therefore, we have to give them, we have to contribute service to the people through the words. Tasmat tadeva datavyam vachane ka daridrata. Is there any dearth of words? Is there any dearth of speaking? We speak so much. Always talking and talking and talking. Talking outside also, talking inside also. So much of talking will be going on. So, vachane ka daridrata, is there any dearth of talking? So, we have to render that one. That is a great, we have got so much of wealth of talking is there in us. So, we have to render service to the society through these words of consolation. So, there is a famous prayer of Christian saint, great saint, Saint John of Assisi. Nityasthanandaji quotes often in his book, The Meditation in Spiritual Life. O Lord, grant me so that I may not seek as much to be consoled as to console, as much to be loved as to love, as much to be understood as to understand. So, you are all very famous, you must have heard and read many times. So, he prays to God so that he must give an attitude of the mind, such an attitude of the mind which will not make me to expect consolation from others rather than consoling others. Expect love from others rather than loving others. Expect others should understand me rather than understanding others. So that means you have to love others rather than expecting love from others. You must console others rather than expecting consolation from others. So that's what the prayer says. So normally what happens, you want somebody to console me. I want to, speak out my own problems and difficulties and all that, expecting others to console me and all that. Instead of that, if I am able to console others, my problems and sufferings will be reduced. If I love others really unselfishly, I don't then feel that others have not love me at all. So normally what happens, nobody is there to understand me, nobody understands me, nobody loves me, nobody has got any concern for me. Like that, people go on thinking like that. They feel a sort of victim mentality. So, to overcome that kind of thing, that is, this prayer is very helpful, this kind of prayer. I must always try to console others rather than expecting consolation from others. I must try to render service to others rather than expecting service from others. So that kind of attitude one has to develop. So that is another great service to the society we render through the words of consolation. And another way of serving the people is by spreading the knowledge. Secular knowledge as well as spiritual knowledge. So that is another great service we have to render to this society. Normally what happens, when we spread the knowledge as much as possible, as Swami Vivekananda used to do, used to say also, through the spreading the knowledge, what happens, there will be a gradual transformation of society. Through that it is possible to. That is why Swami Vivekananda always says, don't be in a hurry. You give the ideas to the society, it will gradually take roots and change the society. Don't be so great in a hurry. You used to always advise the reformers. They are so hurry in doing some reformation in the society, change the society altogether and all that. But Swami Vivekananda, be patient. Give the ideas. Give the society all the noble ideas. And it will gradually take root and change the society. You may not see it. By that time you must have passed away. But it will have a great impact on the society. It will change the society. This is how society is changed. Throughout the history we see. Society is changed because of the ideas, not because of so many other things. So that is why Swami Vivekananda always used to say about the spreading of the knowledge. Jesus Christ tells a story. His farmers, they seeds, they spread the seeds, sow the seeds in different areas and throw the seeds in a different way. And some seeds, what happens, it falls on the rocky areas and it gets destroyed. Some seeds will fall on amidst the bushes and it will get choked, it will not grow. Some seeds are taken away by the birds. But some seeds fall on the fertile ground and take roots and grow profusely, luxuriously. So those who have got ear to hear, let them hear, he says, concluding that story. So those who have got already, the fertile land is there, then the heart is fertile. Heart is fertile. That means. So there the ideas will take root and change the personality. So that is why our duty is to go on spreading the knowledge, distributing the knowledge seeds of the knowledge. Somehow or the other, somewhere or the other, it will take root. In somebody or the other, it will take root. In some field or the other, it will take root. Then it will change the whole structure, social structure altogether. So that is why Swami Vivekananda always gave importance to the spreading of the knowledge. That's why he went to the West to give Vedantic ideas to them. How much of service he has rendered by doing that. How much of service. Recently, there is a book called Swami Vivekananda, Teacher to the World. The title itself is like that. Vivekananda, Teacher to the World. He is a great guru of the world. Vishwa Guru he is. Because what he did, he didn't do anything. He just went on giving ideas, lecturing through the powerful words. So that changed the whole Western thinking altogether. He says that in that book that Harris she's a American historian. She says, the Swami Vivekananda changed the spiritual dimension of the whole Western world, he says. Spiritual attitude of the whole world. So that is how he has done. He has not done anything. He is just, apart from some giving the ideas in a powerful words. So that is why our duty is to go on giving the ideas. And somehow or the other, somewhere or the other, it will get sprouted. And it will change the personality. It will change the society altogether. For example, the Christianity also spread like that in the West through the ideas only. He preached some sermon on the mount, for a few disciples. And let's see, whole Western world has changed because of that. So like that, Buddha here in India, he also preached. And for centuries, there was whole Indian society was changed. For centuries. Because of that few words of his teachings. So this is how, through the knowledge, it is possible to change the society. That's why you must go on giving the ideas as much as possible. Without any selfish motivation. Without expecting anything. We may not see the change in our own life, but it will have. It will have its own impact. It will change the society in future. So that kind of idea you must have. Through that, it is possible to render the service to the society in a different way. That is another kind of important way of serving the society is by spreading the knowledge. And another most important service we can render to the society is restoring the faith in the power of goodness. Restoring the faith in the power of goodness. If the common people in general lose the faith in the power of goodness, morality itself, the strength of morality itself, the value of morality itself, then society is doomed. Nobody can change the society. So this is Swami Vivekananda is very particular, this kind of service. Swami Vivekananda's statement I quote. He says, we may convert every house in the country into a charity asylum. We may convert all the houses in the country as a charity asylum. Charity asylum. That means doing charity. Dana. We may fill the land with hospitals. Everywhere hospitals and dispensaries. We may fill the land with that. Hospitals. But the misery of man will still continue to exist until man's character is changes. Unless man's character is changed, misery of the people will not cease. Swamiji is very particular about this. So that means even if you do the good to the society also, you have to do it with moral integrity. Many people say, I heard many people tell me, if you are completely good and moral, not to tell lies at all, then it is not possible to do any good to the society. They speak like that. So that means we are through that, in a dishonest way, in so many other, dishonest way, and some other like that. If you do the render to the society, then normally what happens, people lose faith in the goodness at all, moral goodness at all. So that means they also started doing all sorts of immoral things, dishonest and all that. Then gradually whole society will corrupt. This is what is happening now. In spite of being so much of service activities being done, the misery of the people is not ending at all. So much of suffering is there. So that is why Swami Vivekananda is very, very particular about this. One nice story is there. I told this story earlier also. There was one king, and he had a very, very good horse. He had very good, very powerful, and very healthy, good looking, and all that. And once a great, very wealthy merchant saw that horse. He was very much tempted. He wanted to have that horse, get that horse. He went to the king and asked to give that horse to him. King said, refused, no, I don't. I will pay for it. No, even if you pay also I don't give. I will pay 1 lakh rupees. No. 10 lakh rupees. No. 1 crore. No. I will not part with this horse at all, however much we may pay. But this merchant was hell-bent on somehow or the other getting this horse, by hook or crook. So he went, and he was always watching where king moves riding the horse. He was always watching where he goes, what are the direction he goes, what are the places he goes, and all that he was carefully watching. One day he found he was moving in a countryside alone with his horse. And suddenly he heard a sound. The king heard a sound, shouting, "Oh, I am fallen into a ditch. Please save me. I am not able to get up. Please help me, help me, help me." Somebody is shouting. Then king was very compassionate. He got down from the horse, went in the direction of the sound, and he saw the same merchant is fallen in the ditch and struggling hard to come out of it. He is not able to. And with great difficulty, the king helped him to come out of it. He lifted him with all 2 hands. And he was injured also, so much of bodily injury was there. He gradually lifted him, and he wanted to take him to hospitals. He put him on the horse. The moment he placed him on the horse, suddenly he got up, that merchant, and took hold of the rein and started running with horse. And king, he lost his horse. He was looking at him. Suddenly, an idea came to him. Suddenly, he started with all his strength, started running behind the horse with all his strength, with as fast as possible. And the merchant was looking back, and shouting at him, "No, why do you run like this? It is not possible. You don't get the horse at all. Please go back." He was shouting at him. No. King was responding, "No, you have taken the horse, okay. I am not bothered about it. I want to tell you one thing." "What is that?" "See, it is good, it is okay. You have taken the horse, no problem. But don't tell this incident to anyone else." Why? Because if somebody is fallen somewhere and shouting for the help, nobody will go to render service to him. Nobody will help him. Because he knows what happens. They lose faith in others. Because of this, this moral disintegrity, dishonesty and all that, people lose faith in each other. When the faith is not there, mutual faith is not there, life becomes most miserable. So that is why great service we have to render to the society is restoring the faith in the power of goodness among the people in general. That is what Swami Vivekananda always used to say. To become great, to achieve something great, to become great, 3 things are necessary. One is the faith in the power of goodness. The first one, he says, the first and foremost thing is the faith in the power of goodness. The second one is absence of suspicion and jealousy. Absence of jealousy and suspicion. That is the second quality. The third important quality is helping those who are trying to be good and trying to do good to these others. Helping those people. That is also another very important. Not hating them. Not feel jealous of it. So, these are the 3 important qualities one must have to achieve great things in life, as Swami Vivekananda says. So that means, according to Swami Vivekananda, restoring the faith in the power of goodness is the greatest service we can render to the society. According to one particular saying, as human beings, we must always have the idea that I must leave a better society before dying. I must leave a better society for the future generation. That kind of idea must be there. Normally, what happens? We are only concerned with our own immediate needs. Our immediate needs must be fulfilled. That's all. We are not bothered about what will happen, what is the impact of it on the society, how it is going to affect the society badly in future. Those things we are not bothered about it. Our immediate purpose is to be served. So we are only concerned about that. That kind of idea is selfishness. So we must always have the idea, we must leave the society in a better condition. So there is a nice humorous incident is there related to this idea. There was one hotel was there. In that hotel, there was a big list of eatables. Very big list of eatables was there. And very nice eatables. And below that it was written, you don't have to pay anything now. You don't have to pay at all. Only your grandson will pay for what you have taken. You don't have to pay. So one person read it. He was very happy. He doesn't have to pay. My grandson will pay. By that time I will not be there at all. So he went and ate nicely. All sorts of things ate to his fill. Then after that he was coming back and they produced the bill. He was very angry, annoyed. Why do you produce the bill now? Why do you are giving me bill? No, it is not for your eating. It is the bill for your grandfather who ate earlier. So that is why his grandson, that is why he has to pay. So that means we are not bothered about what will happen future. Future we are not bothered about. There is a very nice incident is there in Holy Mother's life. You all know it. Holy Mother was in Jairambati, and so many devotees used to from Calcutta. They used to go there to see Holy Mother, and they always want bed tea. After getting up, they want to have a tea, hot tea. But in the village to get milk is very difficult. It's not that easy. So one Jnana Maharaj, one brahmachari, he was asked to go and fetch the milk from a milkman in the village. He went there, asked the man to give milk. And he told, you see, you must give a very pure milk without mixing water. You should not mix. A drop of water also you should not mix. I may pay you more if you want. I will pay more. No problem. So you must give me pure milk, he said. How much you pay? What is the rate? What is the price? It's 4 annas for a seer. I will pay 8 annas. I will pay 8 annas. No problem. So you must give a pure milk. So milkman said, okay. He one share of milk or something like that he purchased and went to Holy Mother. And Holy Mother asked, how much you paid? 8 anna for seer. She said, what a mistake you have committed. She said, what a mistake. You scolded him. You see, for so many years, village people, they are all poor. They are getting milk for 4 annas. Now you have paid 8 annas for a seer. Now what will happen? That milkman will demand the 8 annas only for all others. He will charge 8 annas for a share of milk to all the people. They will not be able to pay so much. See, and also Even if you pay 8 annas also, he won't stop mixing water to the milk. Because it is against the tradition. Against the tradition. You should not give, sell milk without mixing the water. So he will, because of the love for money, he will mix more water to the milk. Because he will get more money. See, just imagine what a foresight Holy Mother had. What will happen in future, that is most important. We don't bother about, most of us, we don't care for all these things. Our immediate purpose is to somehow or the other to be fulfilled. That's all. That is how, because of that, this kind of attitude only, so much of corruption exists in society now. So much of corruption. Everywhere. In every department. In every area. Even in religious field also. There are, Swami Vivekananda says, very assertively he says, there is a very nice statement. 3 stages of our service. First of all, you must feel for people. And also you must understand their suffering. And also you must have the will to do something. Will to do something. I will quote his words regarding these 3 points. 3 things are necessary for great achievements. The first, feel from the heart. Do you feel? Do you feel that millions and millions of the descendants of gods and of sages have become next door neighbors to brutes? Do you feel that millions are starving today? And millions have been starving for ages? Swami Vivekananda in one place says, where you will find people sleeping on the footpath along with the dogs and cattle. Such was the condition in India. Even now it is there, it is not so much has changed. I have seen, when I was in Belur Math, I used to go to the Calcutta and come back through the Howrah station. In Howrah, while coming that, so much of heap of garbage was there. So much heap of garbage. On the heap of garbage, I saw people sleeping along with the dogs. That is the condition. See how pathetic condition. How much he must have felt. Just see. You may feel, he further says, you may feel then, but instead of spending your energy in frothy talk, have you find any way out? Is there any solution for this? Did you think about it? Any practical solution? Some help instead of condemnation. Some sweet words to soothe their miseries. To bring them out of this living death. Living death, he says. This kind of condition. Do you feel that millions are suffering like this? And it's not only feeling this. Many people feel like that. When the people see the suffering, they may shed tears also. But it's only temporary. After that, whole thing will come. There is a nice story, one story of a Russian woman going to the drama. At that time, drama was there, when cinema was not there. She is sitting there, seeing the drama, and there was a very tragic scene was there in the drama. Very tragic. And seeing that tragic scene, she was shedding tears profusely. But at the same time, her servant was outside the theater, shivering with the cold. Russian cold. Russia is so cold. Shivering with cold. She is not at all have any concern for him. And she is shedding tears, seeing the tragic scene in the drama. So that is why this shedding tears is not enough. Feeling is not enough. She says, have you found any solution? Can you render some service to them? Can we console them? Swamiji asked. Yet, that is not all. Yet that's not all. Have you got the will to surmount mountain high obstruction? If the whole world stands against sword in hand, would you still dare to do what you think is right? He says. These are the 4 stages, he says. 4 things necessary for great achievements. It's a very interesting fact. So many, after more than 100 of years of what Swami Vivekananda said like this, one psychologist, Daniel Goleman, he speaks about empathy. Empathy, nowadays that word is very much popular, empathy. So he says there are 3 stages of empathy. One is emotional empathy, another is cognitive empathy, another is empathetic concern. He says like this. This idea is the same as if he has taken this idea from Swami Vivekananda. The emotional empathy is, do you feel for this? Swamiji says, do you feel that millions and millions are suffering, starving? Do you feel? That is emotional empathy. And the second stage is empathetic concern, cognitive empathy. Cognitive empathy means, he says here, you may feel then, but instead of spending your energy in frothy talk, have you found any way out? Have you found any way? What is the cause for this suffering? Is there any way of overcoming it? Can I do anything? What is the cause? What is the real cause for all these things? How can I mitigate this suffering? So this is empathetic, cognitive empathy. Thinking like this. Feeling and thinking with our mind. Another thing is empathetic concern, he says. Empathetic concern is as the Swami Vivekananda is a third stage. Yet that is not all. Have you got the will to surmount mountain high obstructions? Whatever may be the obstructions, whatever people may oppose you, and all that, society, even whole society stand against you. In spite of all that, if you are able to do the things what you want, what is right, what you think you are right. So that is why this kind of willpower also is necessary. One is feeling for the people, that is heart to feel and head to think and hand to work. This is what Swami Vivekananda says. 3 H. These are necessary. So this is Swamiji's idea. And same idea is as though it is copied from Swami Vivekananda. These 3 stages of empathy he speaks of, that Daniel Goleman. So that is how this empathy, idea of empathy, is very much prevalent nowadays. Nowadays, so much of research is being done about all these things. They say there is a particular concept called, earlier they say man was considered to be more selfish and self-centered. There is a particular book called Selfish Gene. Genes are always selfish, they say. Genes are always selfish. That means our whole personality is consisting of genes, Selfish Genes, one very popular book is there. They say, they consider selfish, genes are always selfish. Because of that, man is selfish, self-centered, self-interested. But the researchers are revealing that man is not only selfish, sometimes of course he is selfish more, but the thing is, there is another dimension of his personality. That is, they call it Homo empatheticus. Homo empatheticus. Homo empathicus. Homo empathicus means he has got the capacity to have that empathetic impulse also. Empathetic feeling also. He has got the capacity to empathize with others. Empathize with others means feeling others' suffering or happiness as if it is his own. They say, in neuroscience, they say there is a neurons called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are responsible for this kind of empathetic feeling. If something is, if I see a particular person is suffering so much, there is mirror neurons are there. They reflect that suffering. These mirror neurons become activated because of that. When I see the particular person. So that is why they say it is possible to activate the mirror neurons. When the mirror neurons are activated like that, in the brain, we feel more compassion towards others. The compassion also will get increased. So that is how that means this empathetic impulse, empathetic feeling, it is already innate in human personality. So everybody has got the capacity to do that, feel that kind of thing. Because of so many social, influences, reasons, because of so many problems, etc., that gets suppressed. But it is possible to get that back and activate the mirror neurons so that we will be able to feel for others more, have more and more compassion for others. So it is what is possible, they say. Now I shall quote one particular thing, statement by a psychologist. The world view that we are essentially self-interested creatures is being nudged finally to one side. It is completely gone, that idea that self-interest, man is essentially a self-interested, that idea is completely gone. Finally, to one side. By evidence that we are also homo empathicus. Homo empathicus means you have the capacity to empathize with others. Homo empathicus, wired for empathy. That means wired for empathy. That empathy is also a part of our system, brain system. Social cooperation and mutual aid. We are also wired for empathy, social cooperation and mutual aid. This capacity also is innate in us. That's what researchers are revealing it. He further says, the 20th century was the age of introspection. Age of introspection. So, in the 20th century, they always used to say, you have to go back to yourself and change yourself. You have to introspect yourself. What is going on within yourself? And there you have to make a change within yourself. Then the whole world will change. So that means self-introspection. 20th century is self-introspection, age of self-introspection. The 21st century should become the age of empathy, he says. It must be age of empathy, feel for others. So here, very interesting point to be noted is Swami Vivekananda says, Atmano mokshartam jagadhitaicha. Atmano mokshartam refers to the self-introspection. We have to know ourselves. We have to know our real nature, where we stand, what is happening within us, what is our real nature. That is also necessary. That happens because of the self-introspection, going within ourselves. And also he says, Jagadhitaicha. Jagadhitaicha. That means age of empathy. That is 21st century is the age of empathy, he says. Should be the age of empathy. That is age of empathy. So, feeling for others. That is Jagadhitaicha. So, these two, Swami Vivekananda, what Swami Vivekananda said, for 100 years back, is all these things are being demonstrated, experimentally demonstrated in neurology. That is a very interesting point to be noted. And one more thing to be said here. Why Swami Vivekananda says these two, renunciation and service, are the national ideals. Simply he would have said, these are the important ideals, you have to follow it. He would have said. But he says, they are the national ideals. They are the national ideals. So, channelize her in these two lines, then rest will take care of by itself. All the problems will be solved, he says. That's why Swami Vivekananda always said, instead of spreading the society with the social ideas, and political ideas and all that, spread the whole, inundate the whole society with the spiritual ideas, all the national problems will be solved, he says. He wanted that one. But he did not do that. Anyway, that's a different story. Now, why Swami Vivekananda says it is a national ideas? Swami Vivekananda, I will quote some of the words of Swami Vivekananda here. He says, our sacred motherland is a land of religion and philosophy, birthplace of spiritual giants, the land of renunciation. He says it is a land of renunciation, where alone from the most ancient and to the most modern times, there has been the highest ideal. This has been the highest ideal of is open to man. Renunciation, that is the flag, the banner of India. Renunciation is the banner of India. Floating over the world. Floating over the world. Whole world, it is teaching renunciation. The one undying thought which India sends again and again as a warning to the dying races, as a warning to all the tyranny, as a warning to wickedness in the world. This is the idea of renunciation that India has to preach spread to the whole world. This is the land of renunciation, he says. Swami Vivekananda says, in one place he says, India has demonstrated how much less one can survive in this world. And West demonstrated how much more I require to survive myself. How much more I require. How much less I can manage. India teaches this one. That's what Swami Vivekananda says in one place. So that means it is a land of renunciation. That is what Swami Vivekananda, these are the national ideas. And service also is a very important thing to be noted. And Swami Vivekananda says, the debt which the world owes to our motherland is immense. India had demonstrated, that is over. So, in the Colombo to Almora, in many places, Swami Vivekananda says, the whole world has got a debt towards India, because India has rendered greatest service to the whole world, sending his noble ideas. Swami Vivekananda in place says, whenever there is a conquering race comes and conquers so many different races and connects the east and west, then what happens, Indian spiritual ideas, all the noble ideas will travel towards the west and change the whole society. There is a very interesting book. If you are interested, you can go through it. Journey of the Upanishads to the West. Journey of the Upanishads to the West. Very interesting book. How our Indian ideas, spiritual ideas, especially the Upanishadic ideas of the Bhagavad Gita, etc., travel to the West from the most ancient time onwards, Greek time onwards, and change the whole philosophical thinking there. Whole thinking pattern itself. Even Plato was influenced by the Upanishads. Pythagoras was influenced by the Upanishads. There are so many quotations are there regarding that one. I don't have to do all those things now. So these are, if you go through this book, you will understand. From the ancient time onwards, from the present period itself, so much of ideas has gone to the West. Not only spiritual ideas, nowadays they are discovering so much of scientific ideas also, mathematics also, it's gone from the India to the West. They have borrowed so much from India. I will quote one to substantive. You should not think that Swami Vivekananda simply because of his love for India is exaggerating the things. It's not like that. So many quotations are there. Only as a example, what Will Durant says. Will Durant is a great admirer of India. He is a great historian. He has written world history, the story of civilization. 5 or 6 volumes are there, very huge volumes are there, story of civilization. What is the contribution of India? What is the contribution of the East to the story of the whole civilization of the world? He says in that book, let us remember that India was the motherland of our race. India was the motherland of our race, he says. And Sanskrit, our race means Western race. That means all the Aryans went out of India and populated the whole West. And Sanskrit, the mother of European languages. Sanskrit is the mother of all the European languages, he says. That she was the mother of our philosophy. Mother, through Arabs, of much of our mathematics. The mathematical ideas, most of the scientific ideas went to the West through the Arabs. Arabs used to earlier, Arabs used to come to India, great Arab scholars. We are only aware of the Arabs coming and conquering the world and looting the world, looting Indian wealth and all that. But much before that, many of the Muslim scholars came to India, learned from India. So they took all the knowledge, scientific knowledge, mathematics knowledge, etc. from India, and through that it went to the West when the crusade took place during that period. Mathematics and mother, India is the mother through Buddha of the ideals embedded in Christianity. So Christian monasticism is taken from Buddhist, it seems. Swami Vivekananda also says like that. India is the mother through the village community of self-government and a democracy. It was there, the republican way of ruling was there even during the Buddha's time, even before Buddha also. Democracy. Mother India is in many ways the mother of us all. Of us all means Western people. He is a Western man, So that means that the way Swami Vivekananda says, renunciation and service are the national ideas, because it has rendered so much of service to the whole world and it has taught renunciation to the whole world. So these are the important point to be noted, and with this I will conclude this speech. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Satu. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.